Ever feel like you're stuck? Like you're trying to stand out,
Oh.
in this sea of faces, all vying for attention. And it's like, deep down, your talents, your passions, they deserve like a bigger stage.
You're not alone in feeling that way.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way.
Today's deep dive, it's all about giving you the tools to craft a personal brand.
Yeah.
A brand that truly shines. We're diving deep into personal branding tips. Building your unique identity. Think of it as like your roadmap.
Yeah.
Your roadmap to owning your narrative, right? In this world that's just saturated, like drowning in information.
And that's key, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
about taking control, right? Taking control of how you're perceived. And it's not about, vanity or anything. It's strategic. It's about crafting this presence, this image that really reflects what you're about, your value, your expertise.
Exactly. And this source we're looking at, it jumps right into it.
Yeah.
It's right into the heart of it, highlighting just how crucial a strong personal brand is these days. I mean, it's the digital age, right?
Mm.
And it's especially crucial when we're talking about career advancement and building trust, which is huge.
It's huge.
Did you know? I read this and I was like, whoa. A LinkedIn survey found that 85% of jobs, 85%, are filled through networking.
It's not even what you know anymore. It's who knows you, right?
It's all about connection.
Connections, exactly.
And this isn't, some new idea. It's not like some new trend.
Mhm.
This source, it actually traces personal branding way back to the late 90s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. There was this management guru, Tom Peters, and he was already urging professionals to, think of themselves as brands.
Mm.
And then, boom, the digital boom happened.
Mhm.
And suddenly, it wasn't just a good idea. It was essential.
Everything changed.
Everything changed.
Yeah.
Like the digital landscape, it became this bustling marketplace. And if you want to be seen, if you want to stand out, you've got to package yourself.
Yeah.
Your skills, your passions, you've got to package it in a way that's impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
So how do we do that? Well, this source, it breaks down building a personal brand into 6 actionable steps.
Oh, okay.
And the first one, it's defining your brand identity. And this is where it gets really interesting because we're not just talking about, sprucing up the old resume.
It's deeper than that.
Oh, it's way deeper than that.
Yeah.
This is about digging deep. It's about those core values. And you really have to ask yourself, what am I passionate about? Really passionate about? What are my non-negotiables?
Mm.
What are the strengths, the things that make me me? The things that make you uniquely you. It's like distilling yourself,
Yeah.
the essence of you professionally.
The most potent
Yeah.
version of you.
It's like a mission statement, but not just for your career,
Right.
for your life.
Right.
You're building a brand from the inside out,
Exactly.
which makes sense because
Yeah.
you can't build something authentic on a foundation that's cracked,
Right. Yeah. No, you need that solid base. And then, once you've got that, you need to know who you're building it for.
the audience.
This source, it really emphasizes that. You've got to understand your audience.
It's like marketing 101, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't advertise a sports car the same way you'd advertise a minivan.
Totally different.
Totally different vibe. So you got to know who you're talking to and tailor that message.
Absolutely.
So how do we do that with a personal brand? What are the practical things?
Well, this is where your online presence comes in. Big time. The source talks about building a professional website. Think of it as your online HQ,
Your home base.
Exactly. This is where people go to find out about you, what you do, your whole deal.
And let's not forget about social media. It's everywhere these days. This source, it highlights how important it is to really optimize those profiles, especially LinkedIn.
Oh, absolutely. LinkedIn, that's key. It's like the first impression.
Digital first impression.
Exactly.
You got to make it count.
You got to make it count. But it's not enough to just, exist on these platforms. You can't just have a profile and be done with it. You have to contribute.
Right.
This source talks about creating content, valuable content, blog posts, videos, even podcasts like we're doing right now. It's all about positioning yourself as a thought leader, someone worth listening to.
Be the expert.
Exactly.
With you're creating your own little corner of the internet, But it's not just about broadcasting into the void. This source, it also talks about real world connection, It's not all just digital.
It's both, right?
Yeah.
You need that balance.
This source, it calls out networking and collaboration, says they're key ingredients.
It's huge.
Yeah, to building a strong personal brand. And we're not just talking about online networking, although that's important too. This is industry events, conferences,
Meeting people face to face.
right? Joining those like professional organizations, finding your people, and even like collaborating with influencers in your field.
It's like that old saying, right? It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Right.
But maybe it's more like, it's not just WHO you know, it's who knows you.
Ooh, I like that.
Ah.
That's good. You should like trademark that. Write that down so people know you. But then you got to make sure they have the right impression.
That's huge. Reputation management. That's what the source really emphasizes.
Oh, especially in the age of social media where everything is like permanent.
Exactly.
One little misstep online and it can follow you around forever. It's like a digital tattoo.
It's out there.
It's out there.
Yeah.
I read this stat and I was like, this is scary but true. Career Builder, they did a survey and found that 70% of employers, 70, use social media to screen candidates.
Wow, 70%. That's most employers.
Right. That's a big deal. It makes you really think twice about that picture from that party. You know what I mean?
Definitely makes you think about what you're posting, right?
For sure.
Be aware. This source, it talks about actively monitoring what's out there about you online. You know, responding to feedback, addressing negativity. Because it's not just about damage control.
It's about shaping a narrative.
Exactly.
Right? You're telling your story.
You're shaping your narrative, showcasing what you're good at, engaging with your audience, building that trust, building credibility.
Yes. It's like you're the curator of your own online museum.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
You're deciding what goes on display, how it's presented, how you're going to interact with the people who come to your museum.
I love that analogy.
So we talked about the practical steps.
Right.
Building that personal brand. But this source, it gets into some of the more, I don't know, like complex aspects too, you know?
Like, sure.
It's not all sunshine and roses. There are like controversies, things to watch out for.
Yeah, it's not perfect.
Right. It's not perfect. So like, what are some of the trickier aspects of personal branding that this source brings up?
Well, a big one is this balance. Authenticity versus curation. It's tough. We're living in this world of filters, you know?
Right.
Perfect photos, perfect lives. It's all so carefully crafted. So how do we stay true to ourselves, the real us, but still, you know, put our best foot forward? A lot of people struggle with that.
Oh, yeah. It's a tough one. Because you want to present that polished, professional image.
Right.
But you don't want to seem fake. Have you noticed that with some personal brands? They're like, all surface, no substance.
Totally. It's like, where's the real person behind all that?
Right. And this source, it gets at it. It says, look, you want to highlight those strengths, your accomplishments, but you got to stay true to yourself, your values, your personality, show the real you, just, you know, maybe the slightly more polished version.
Like the best version of yourself, right?
Right.
Not some fake version.
Yes, exactly.
Be authentic.
It's like the difference between, I don't know, putting on a costume and then just choosing an outfit that makes you feel good, like you're ready to take on the world.
I love that. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
But then that brings us to another point this source talks about, the pressure to be perfect.
Oh, it's so real.
It's everywhere you look, right? Social media especially.
Like everybody's highlight reel is on a loop.
Exactly. And it's easy to forget that those perfect moments, they're just a snapshot. They don't show the whole picture.
And it can be really easy to start, you know, comparing yourself, feeling like you're not enough.
Absolutely. And the source, it gets that. It acknowledges that. This pressure, this inadequacy, it's real.
Yeah.
Especially with social media, everyone seems to be living their best life, you know? But what I appreciate about this source is that it offers this more balanced perspective. It says, hey, focus on personal growth instead of perfection. It's about progress, not perfection.
That's so important to remember.
Right.
It's okay to be a work in progress. You don't have to have it all figured out before you even start building your personal brand.
Exactly.
You just have to be willing to learn and grow along the way.
Embrace the journey, right? It's all about the journey, not just the destination.
Speaking of journeys, this whole idea of sharing your story online, it raises another important concern.
Privacy.
Privacy, yes. Where do we draw that line between, you know, being authentic, being relatable, and then like oversharing?
Right.
It's a valid concern, especially these days when it feels like every social media platform wants you to share every little detail of your life. So how do we like walk that line? How does this source say we can find that balance?
Boundaries. It all comes down to boundaries. You have to be mindful, so mindful of what you're putting out there. Think about, you know, the potential consequences before you hit that post button. And it's okay to keep some things private. You really don't have to sacrifice your privacy to build the personal brand.
No, you don't have to be like an open book.
Right.
You can be relatable
Right.
without turning your life into a reality show.
Exactly. It's your story. You get to choose how you tell it.
This has been, I don't know, eye-opening, this whole deep dive. From like building that online presence to all the ethical stuff we have to think about with personal branding. It's a lot. What's your biggest takeaway from all of this?
For me, it always comes back to authenticity.
Being real.
Yeah, being genuine. In this world, I mean, we're surrounded by these perfect online personas, but real connection, that's powerful.
That's like they say, right? People, they don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
That's it.
And that why, that comes from authenticity,
Absolutely.
passion, being true to yourself.
100%. So to everyone listening, thinking about, starting their own personal branding journey, remember, your voice, it matters. Don't be afraid to let the real you shine through.
That's such a good reminder.
Be yourself.
It's not about being somebody you're not. It's about, owning what makes you unique, sharing that. So ask yourself as you're, crafting this personal brand, what's my story? What do I want to say? And does it really reflect me? Because you are amazing.
You are.
And you have a story worth telling.